Who is the boy behind the crown? It's been one hell of a time for the world's most famous family.
It is a transformative moment for the British monarchy.
It's going to be a very different world.
Prince George, a king for the future.
It'll be very interesting to see what sort of man, husband, father, king he becomes.
What will happen if Prince George, the son of Prince William and Princess Kate Middleton, becomes king? Born in 2013, Prince George is third in line to the British throne.
Prince George is turning 10, and going into double figures is a significant milestone in any child's life. It perhaps had some added poignancy for the family.
As future king, his role will bring many changes, not just for him, but for the entire royal family and the nation. From traditions to royal titles, so much will be changed in unexpected ways. Curious to know how history, power, and duty will change in Prince George's reign? Then join us as we explore 20 insane things that will happen when Prince George becomes king, head of state. When Prince George becomes king, he will take on the role of head of state. While the UK has an elected government to make and pass laws, the king or queen still holds an important position. As head of state, Prince George wouldn't create laws or govern directly, but he would carry out duties that have been part of royal tradition for over 1,000 years. He would also be a symbol of unity and pride for the country. As king, Prince George would represent national identity, honor achievements, and encourage community service. He would lead both formally and as a beloved figure of stability and tradition. Keep watching to find out what comes next. Moving to Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace has been the home of British kings and queens since Queen Victoria's time in 1837. It is more than just a grand building. It is a symbol of the monarchy's history and tradition. When Prince George becomes king, he will move into this iconic palace when he becomes king. Living at Buckingham Palace would be a huge moment for him. It would show the world that his reign has officially begun. The palace is not just a home. It is the perfect place for a king to host important events like state banquets and receptions.
Buckingham Palace, a focal point for royal celebrations, jubilees with their very loud flypasts, and coronations.
It would also help Prince George easily handle his royal duties and connect with the people, carrying on centuries of tradition. Greater role involvement in the government. As king, Prince George would play a bigger role in the government, even though he wouldn't make laws or lead the country directly. In the UK's constitutional monarchy, the power to make and pass laws belongs to the elected parliament, but the king still has important responsibilities that connect him to the government. Prince George would be involved in key moments like opening and closing parliament sessions and giving approval before new laws are finalized. These roles might seem ceremonial, but they are crucial in keeping the country's traditions alive. Assent to new laws. One of the duties of a king is to give royal assent to new laws. This is the formal way a monarch approves a bill passed by Parliament. Without it, the bill cannot become law. As king, Prince George would take on this responsibility. While royal assent is mostly a tradition today and rarely denied, it still holds great importance. It shows the connection between the monarchy and the government. By granting assent, Prince George would continue a practice that has been part of Britain's history for centuries, ensuring every law is officially recognized. Stay tuned to find out what comes next. Political neutrality. As king, Prince George would face the important duty of staying politically neutral. In a constitutional monarchy, the royal family cannot take sides in political matters or show support for any party. This means Prince George would need to keep his opinions private, just as his great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth II did. People never knew her thoughts on politics, or even which prime minister she liked most. While King Charles III has shared his views on the environment, he too avoids siding with any party. Prince George would follow this tradition. Carrier of royal responsibilities. Becoming king would make Prince George the head of the royal household. This means he would be responsible for managing the family's many royal duties and the costs that come with them. Maintaining palaces, paying staff, and ensuring top-level security are expensive tasks that require careful planning. At the same time, the king enjoys incredible privileges. Prince George would live in some of the world's most beautiful homes, own amazing cars, and have access to priceless jewelry. But he would need to balance this luxury with the needs of the people, showing both responsibility and care for the nation. Head of Commonwealth of Nations. As king, Prince George would become the head of the Commonwealth, a group of 54 countries that work together on important issues like human rights, democracy, and economic growth. This role is mostly ceremonial but very important,
challenging the Commonwealth to find answers to the financial crisis, food supply and global trade.
The Commonwealth began in 1948 and has always had the British monarch as its leader. Prince George would continue this tradition once he takes the throne. Being head of the Commonwealth would allow him to connect with leaders and people from all over the world. It would also give him the chance to strengthen ties and promote unity among the member countries. Changing of the Oath of Allegiance. The Oath of Allegiance will change when Prince George takes the throne. Currently, people in the UK swear loyalty to King Charles III, but once Prince George becomes king, everyone will pledge allegiance to him instead. This oath is an important tradition where citizens, from police officers to military members, promise to serve the monarch and their country. Along with this change, the British national anthem will be updated once again. Instead of "God Save the Queen," it will become "God Save the King." Prince George will be the new figurehead to whom the people of Britain swear their loyalty, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the nation's history. What comes next will shock you. Keep watching. Image replacement. As Prince George takes the throne, his image will start replacing those of King William and King Charles III on many national symbols. This process will take time, especially since Queen Elizabeth's image is so deeply tied to British life. The same goes for the billions of banknotes with the previous monarch's faces, which will take years to replace. Even coins and stamps will need to carry Prince George's portrait, marking a new era. These changes will slowly transform the nation's symbols, reflecting the beginning of his reign. King of Australia. As the new monarch, Prince George will also become the King of Australia. This is because, under Australia's constitution, the monarch of the UK automatically becomes the monarch of Australia as well.
King Charles III is also the King of Australia. He's the head of state here because Australia is a constitutional monarchy, which means that for now, a king or queen will always be its head of state.
While Australia is an independent country, it remains part of the Commonwealth, and the king has a ceremonial role there. Prince George will rule by proxy, just like King Charles before him, meaning he won't be directly involved in running the country. His main responsibility will be appointing the Governor-General, who represents him in Australia, as well as the governors of the country's regions. Through these appointments, Prince George will have a way to influence Australia, even from afar. Changing of name. Prince George may choose to change his name when he becomes king. It's a tradition that allows a new monarch to pick a name that suits their new role, though it's not required. Queen Elizabeth II decided to keep her birth name, but her father changed his from Albert to King George VI when he took the throne. Since both Queen Elizabeth and King Charles kept their names, it wouldn't be surprising if Prince George follows this tradition and keeps his own name. But he could also decide to pick a different name to reflect his reign and the new chapter in British history. Highest-ranking member of the monarchy. Prince George's position in the royal family will change forever. As the highest-ranking member of the monarchy, he will no longer need to bow or curtsy to anyone. Currently, Prince George's father, Prince William, bows to King Charles III, the reigning monarch. But once Prince George ascends to the throne, he will be the one everyone else bows to. His status will make him the most senior member of the royal family, and no one will be above him in rank. Prince George would no longer be the Prince of Wales. Once Prince George becomes king, his title as Prince of Wales will be passed on to his own son. This is because the title of Prince of Wales is traditionally given to the next in line to the throne. Currently, Prince William holds the title of Prince of Wales, a role he took on after Queen Elizabeth II's death when his father, King Charles III, became king.
UK's King Charles III has been crowned again, this time in Scotland.
But when Prince George takes the throne, he will no longer hold that title. Instead, it will be given to Prince George's son, continuing the royal tradition of passing down the title to the heir. Don't miss what comes next on this list. Not needing a passport. As king, Prince George will no longer need a passport. This is because British passports are issued in the monarch's name, making the monarch the source of all passports. Just like Queen Elizabeth II, who never had a passport because she was the source of them, Prince George will not need one either. Since he will be the one granting passports to others, he will be exempt from needing one for himself. It's a unique privilege that comes with being the king, reflecting his position as the figurehead of the nation, supporting charitable causes. Prince George will carry on his family's tradition of supporting charitable causes once he becomes king. Like his father, he will be expected to focus on important issues such as mental health, conservation, and wildlife protection. Over the years, Prince William has worked to raise awareness about mental health, especially PTSD and suicide prevention, and Prince George will likely continue these efforts. He will also take on new causes, using his position to make a positive impact on the world. Massive inheritance. Upon becoming monarch, Prince George will inherit the crown estate, along with other royal properties, but not in the usual way. These assets are held in trust for the nation, not as part of the monarch's personal estate. Like his predecessors, Prince George will receive income from the sovereign grant, which helps fund the royal family's activities. He will have access to the crown estate and royal properties, ensuring the continued upkeep of the monarchy and its responsibilities. Prince George's son, becoming the new Prince of Wales. As soon as Prince George takes the throne, he will make his son the new Prince of Wales. This title is given to the next heir in line, the future monarch. Although Prince George is only 9 years old now, he will eventually carry the responsibility of being the heir to the throne. This may seem like a lot for such a young boy, but tradition holds that the Prince of Wales title is given to the next monarch's eldest child. When Prince Charles became the Prince of Wales, he was 20 years old, even though he was the heir from the age of 3. He had time to learn about Wales, its people, and its language. Likewise, Prince George will grow into his role, learning the important responsibilities that come with it. Waking up with bagpipes. Once he becomes king, Prince George will be woken up by bagpipes, a royal tradition that has been in place for over a century. The British royal family is known for its many traditions, some well-known and others not really known. One of the most unique traditions is that the monarch starts the day to the sound of bagpipes, not an alarm clock. When Prince George takes the throne, he will uphold this practice, embracing the rituals that have long been part of royal life. Supreme Governor of the Church of England. Prince George will automatically become the Supreme Governor of the Church of England. This title, held by the reigning monarch, gives him responsibility for appointing archbishops, bishops, and deans of cathedrals, with advice from the Prime Minister. Along with this, he will also be named the Defender of the Faith. These roles are deeply rooted in British tradition and will make Prince George not only the head of state, but also the symbolic leader of the Church of England, title of Queen Consort. When Prince George becomes king, his wife will be given the title of Queen Consort. This is the traditional title for the wife of a reigning king. While the title holds great respect, it is different from the title of Queen Regent, which was held by Queen Elizabeth II. Unlike a Queen Regent, a Queen Consort does not rule. Similarly, the husband of a queen does not hold a title, just as Prince Philip was not called King Consort. She also had great skills, including her excellent musical ability as a skilled pianist.
It's a well-known story told in an unexpected way, set to music on a Broadway stage.
I choose a fresh new start.
Diana the musical is framed around the Princess of Wales' relationship with Prince Charles.
She was an excellent swimmer and diver, and she also studied ballet and tap dance. It was only academics that was not her forte. Between 1979 and 1981, Diana lived at Coleherne Court in Chelsea, London. In 1978, she started a mini-career in line with her passion for children, working as a nanny for Philippa and Jeremy Whittaker in Hampshire. She attended a finishing school in Rougemont, Switzerland for one term, but left after Easter 1978. Back in London, she shared her mother's flat with two friends from school. In London, Diana took an advanced cooking course and worked various low-paying jobs. She was a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. Then, she worked as a playgroup preschool assistant, did cleaning for her sister Sarah, and acted as a hostess at parties. She also babysat for the Robertsons, an American family in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court as an 18th birthday present. She lived there with 3 flatmates until February 25, 1981. It's amazing how she got involved with Prince Charles after such an eventful life. Royal marriage, sons' births, and lingering controversies. Diana and Prince Charles met in 1977 in unusual circumstances.
The love story between Prince Charles and Lady Diana is particularly steeped in royal history, around which many rumors have surfaced up to this day.
As Charles was dating her sister Sarah, none of them could have imagined their future together. Charles thought she was jolly, and after his relationship with Sarah ended in 1978, they stayed friends. Diana attended Charles's 30th birthday party in Buckingham Palace in November 1978, and in January 1979, she met Charles again at a weekend shooting party at Sandringham as a guest of Queen Elizabeth II. Later in the summer of 1980, Diana and Prince Charles met again at a house party hosted by her friend Philip de Pass in New Grove. After observing her shy nature and wise way of speaking, Charles considered her a potential girlfriend, despite their 13-year age gap. While sitting on a bale of hay at a post-polo barbecue, Diana sympathized with Charles over the loss of his great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten. Her comforting words struck a nerve, and he decided to pursue a relationship with her.
It's always easy to be smart in hindsight, but when you look at this couple's soap opera of body language throughout their marriage and before their marriage.
Did her words make him fall in love? Don't miss the next scene where things get even more interesting. After this, Prince was keen to spend more time with Diana, and he invited her to Balmoral to join him and a group of friends there for a summer holiday. This delighted Diana in no small measure, as she was beginning to adore Charles. After meeting about 13 times, Prince Charles proposed to Diana. He was said to be largely influenced by his father, Prince Philip, who TD'd him in a memo to stop playing the field and get married. His father had said, "You either marry this girl or let her go." Being confused as ever, he took this to mean that his father wanted her to marry Diana, and he proposed to her on February 3, 1981, after a few months of dating at Windsor Castle. Diana was so surprised that she first thought it a joke, but it was real. Prince Charles was damn serious. The formal engagement press call was on February 24, 1981, when after Beijing asked by reporters if they are in love, Diana had replied with certainty while Charles had said, "Whatever in love means." In March 1981, Charles flew to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, leaving his newly betrothed behind. She's spotted crying at Heathrow Airport upon his departure, not because she is sad, but because before he left, he had taken a phone call with Camilla Parker Bowles, his ex. Notwithstanding all these, they got married on July 39, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, with 2,650 guests, and a television audience of around 750 million people watching. Charles was wary of going through with the marriage, but he didn't want to let the royal family down. It would look as though Prince Charles was more eager to find a qualified bride than to actually find a love match. Although he was struck by some of her qualities, it wasn't necessarily love, considering that he was still very much in sync with his ex-girlfriend Camilla, a major problem that would later cause much problems in the marriage. Some believe that Prince Charles married Diana because he needed someone who would fit into the royals' family requirement of a prince, and also to produce his own heirs to the royal throne. Princess Diana's problems began right on her wedding day, because the royal family is a subject of intense media attention. It comes with the status, and anyone who is getting into the royal family must be ready to face the odds. Media attention had always been on Prince Charles ever since he started dating. Every of his love interests have been a subject of scrutiny by the press on whether or not they were fit for the royal throne. Diana was not an exception. When on their wedding day, she broke tradition by omitting the word obey from her vows, and it generated a lot of attention and criticism from the media all at once, launching her first hand into one of the many trials of the royal family. After the couple's fairy tale wedding, Diana felt overwhelmed by her royal duties and the intense media coverage of nearly every aspect of her life. The many duties and the lack of affection from the prince meant that they spent little time together, and the princess was not having it easy. Due to this, in January 1982, 12 weeks into her pregnancy with William, Diana deliberately threw herself down the stairs at the Sandringham House royal residence in Norfolk because she had eating disorder, bulimia, and was feeling so despondent and inadequate in her marriage to Charles. But the baby was unharmed. There was a ray of hope after the birth of their first son, William, on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, and Prince Charles, having attended the broth, described the experience as astonishing. The birth of their first son deepened the relationship between Diana and the prince a little. Diana experienced postpartum depression after her pregnancy with William and found the intense media attention surrounding her pregnancy difficult to bear. In 1983, when William was just 9 months old, Diana couldn't bear to leave him behind for a 6-week tour of Australia and New Zealand. She broke royal tradition by taking him along, sparking a mixed reaction from the press, from harsh criticism to applause from parts of the public. Then, on September 15, 1984, Princess Diana gave birth to Prince Harry, with Charles by her side. Interestingly, 6 weeks before Harry's birth, Charles had thought Diana was expecting a girl. When Harry, a boy, arrived instead, Diana kept it a surprise from Charles, perhaps enjoying the closeness it brought them. But Charles's disappointment over Harry's gender and his hair color strained their marriage further. Diana felt resentful, beginning a journey of secrecy and revenge. This bitterness lingered, and years later Prince William began leaking royal secrets, drawing widespread media attention. It begs the question, why did Charles break the royal rule of secrecy, and why did both sons turn away from their father? Stay tuned, the most exciting part is just around the corner. Prince William's unveiled King Charles's secrets. In the recent royal biography Endgame, written by the royal annalist Omid Scobie, secrets and explosive claims revealed in the book about King Charles, marriage to Diana, and even under his rule were attributed to have been leaked by Prince William's. Interestingly, some claim that it is due to his overambition to become king one day that he broke the sacred code of the royal family, keeping the mouth sealed and keeping secrets. The secrets released by him corroborated the many suspicions of there being a foul play surrounding the death of Princess Diana, while also adding fresh perspectives to the long-forgotten life of Princess Diana. The news was that he leaked private information about both Harry, his brother, and King Charles. Princess Diana's death had been subject to one conspiracy theory or the other, and the most apparent one was that the driver was intoxicated. But more than this, the princess's suspicion of the royal family always plotting against her during her lifetime did not help matters. During her frustrating times with the prince, she believed at some point that Charles wanted her out of the way in order to marry his true love, Camilla. So, many implied that her death might not be a natural accident after all. One major open secret of Prince Charles was his affair with Camilla Parker Bowlers, both before and after the marriage with Princess Diana. On finding out, Camilla was a bone in Camilla's throat, coupled with the loneliness, extreme media attention, and the mental health issues that Diana faced after the marriage. On the Monday before her wedding, she had discovered a beautiful bracelet her future husband intended to give to Camilla. Diana considered calling off the wedding after discovering the bracelet, which confirmed her worst suspicions about Charles's relationship with Camilla. But after lunch with her older sisters, she was persuaded otherwise, telling her that it was too late to chicken out. Tremendously unhappy in their marriage by 1986, both Charles and Diana had extramarital affairs. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Charles maintained constant communication with Camilla, who was also unhappily married to a promiscuous husband. Their affair reignited despite her troubled marriage, a fact Prince Charles admitted to his biographer Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort.
Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Diana had an affair with Army Captain James Hewitt, possibly in response to her own marital unhappiness. Between 1987 and 1992, their troubled marriage garnered intense media scrutiny. Diana's absence from Charles's family summer trip in 1987 sparked headlines about a royal rift. Public appearances often revealed their distant and unhappy demeanor, further fueling speculation about their relationship. The media closely followed their every move, analyzing their interactions and adding to the public's fascination with their marital struggles. In 1988, Georgina Howell reported that Diana was adored by everyone in the world, except her husband. The following year, in 1989, Princess Diana confronted Camilla Parker about her affairs with Prince Charles, which Camilla did not deny. This confrontation highlighted the strained dynamics within their marriage. Moving forward to May 1992, the publication of Diana, Her True Story, caused an international scandal. Biographer Andrew Morton detailed Prince Charles's mistreatment of Diana, including her struggles with self-harm, bulimia, and suicidal thoughts. Later that year, in November 1992, the Prince and Princess of Wales embarked on a disastrous official trip to South Korea. Their visible misery during the trip earned them the nickname the Glums in the media, signaling an apparent end to any semblance of cordiality between them. This turbulent period further intensified the media attention and speculation surrounding their troubled marriage. Separation, divorce, and Princess Diana's tragic death. All hell was let loose when the Prime Minister John Major announced in the House of Commons that Prince Charles and Princess Diana were amicably separating with no plans to divorce, and the decision on December 9, 1992. They both agreed to continue to participate fully in the upbringing of their children, he reads from a statement prepared by Buckingham Palace. In 1994, June 29th, Prince Charles attended an ill-advised tell-all interview which made Princess Diana and the royal family furious. Consequent to this, Princess Diana also sat down for the panorama interview with Martin Bashir.
Did your relationship with James Hewitt go beyond a close friendship?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Were you unfaithful?
Yes, I adored him. Yes, I was in love with him.
Where she spoke of her deep sadness in the marriage and how it had always been the three of them in the marriage, firing shots at Prince Charles and Camilla. In 1995, during the subsistence of the separation, Diana entered into a relationship with Hasnat Khan, a British Pakistani. The relationship was kept secret, but became public on November 3, 1996, after it was reported in the media. Diana tried to deflect and say they were not dating, which annoyed Hasnat, but they got past it, with Diana even visiting Hasnat's family. However, their indecision and lack of agreement on marriage led to their breakup in 1997. During this relationship, the marriage between Charles and Diana and its many controversies were laid to rest when Queen Elizabeth II wrote to Diana, requesting an early divorce for the country's sake. On June 15, 1996, the divorce between the Prince and Princess of Wales was granted. On August 28, 1996, the decree absolute arrived, and the couple was no longer married. That day, while getting ready for an engagement at the English National Ballet, Princess Diana's brother-in-law, Sir Robert Fellows, reportedly wished her good luck, stating that the divorce was an end to a wonderful story, to which she replied that it was the beginning of a new chapter. Diana received a significant financial settlement, but was stripped of her royal status. After the divorce, the cold relationship between the couple thawed, and Prince Charles even dropped by for Diana's 35th birthday. Whatever the Wales's post-divorce relationship could have been was shattered on August 31, 1997, when Princess Diana was killed in a Paris car crash. Surprisingly, it was Prince Charles and Diana's sisters who rushed to bring her home, and she was given a royal funeral. At her funeral, Prince Charles angered royal watchers by wearing a navy suit instead of mourning black. The children were left motherless and had to grieve their mother in front of the world. Prince Philip urged them to take part in their mother's funeral procession and guided them through it all. Both Prince William and Prince Harry later turned against their father in solidarity with their deceased mother. Although there is no love lost between the siblings, especially after Harry's marriage to Meghan and his disrespect to the royal family, they had one thing in common.
On September 7, 1997, William and Harry, then ages 15 and 12, followed a route that began at Kensington Palace to Westminster Abbey.
They probably resented King Charles for the life led with their mother. Despite Princess Diana's tumultuous life, she left a legacy behind. She stood up for herself when she took a big step forward and got treatment for her bulimia, which had tormented her for many years. She also calmly confronted Camilla about her relationship with her husband, as it then. She was also able to attend to her own interest, despite her royal and marital troubles, as she embraced her role as the people's princess. She spent time reconnecting with people, listening to their stories, and helping her connect more with the world around her. The community service trait demonstrated by her in her early life is also evident, because she took up the advocacy for HIV/AIDS patients, removing the stigma surrounding them by shaking hands and even hugging a patient, thereby sending a powerful message as regards who the disease was viewed. The royal family continues to live with hideous secrets, and their exposure has led to one controversy or the other over the years. Prince William continues to shed light on the secrets that shaped his mother's life, and the royal family breaking the implied oath of secrecy in the royal family. What do you think of Prince William's action and his mother's life? Drop your thoughts in the comments section.